Okay, so my AP English Language and Composition class is a class that 11th graders take, and the class focuses on large philosophical questions that don't always have an exact answer. And for example, a unit that we're working on right now is called Language and Consciousness, and we think about what does it mean to be conscious or to be awake? What's the impact of certain stimuli on our subconscious and the way that we behave? How does language interact with that? And one of the specific things we talked about is the concept of ideology, which deals with how we think about the world around us, how we behave, why we have certain opinions, why we interact with each other the way that we do. And I think a lot of people think that those things are just kind of, you're born with them, or it's natural to act or behave or think a certain way or have certain morals or beliefs, but it's really not natural. It's taught, and it's encouraged by the society that you live in. So we really dive into that in one of our units. The goals of that unit and of the class in general are really to get students to think, to use a cliche, to think outside the box, to think differently about the world around them. I think it's very easy, like I said, to just assume that certain beliefs or ideas are right because we hold them or because people around us hold them, but to actually really critically analyze our beliefs and our world and to challenge it and to see it if it actually holds up to logic instead of just accepting it for what it is a really kind of scary but exciting journey intellectually that we take together throughout the year. What kind of student would do well in my class? The students that do well in my class are the ones who are really curious about the questions that we ask and the topics that we discuss. They're willing to engage in them, even if the questions might make them a little bit uncomfortable because they haven't thought about them before. They are students who are willing to work really hard because we, in 11th grade, you're basically taking a college level class. That's what AP means. So to ask students to write at a college level and read college level texts and analyze them without a ton of help from me is kind of scary, but is also very exciting, and that level of challenge really brings out the best in students. So looking for students who are willing to put in their full effort to fail and then grow out of that failure. So students who are not afraid to fail. I'm also looking for students who aren't afraid of sort of the open-ended nature of the questions and topics that we discuss. If you're a student who really enjoys the math and science classes because you always know if you got the exact right answer, that's not really the class that's not AP English. AP English is very much about how you can defend your opinion. So it's not about being right or wrong in terms of you got the answer right. It's more about decide what your opinion is based on evidence and defend it as best you can. And so if it scares you that there is no right answer, then this might not be the class for you. But if that excites you and you like to discuss ideas and analyze things and sort of toss those things around in your head and then come to a conclusion based on evidence, this is the class for you. In terms of the AP test, at the end of the year, students will take a 2-part test. Part 1 is 45 multiple choice questions, which are very difficult. They're often based on 18th century texts written in Old English. You have to analyze how the authors use rhetorical devices or what certain words mean in context, and those are very difficult things. And part 2 is broken into 3 parts, 3 essays. One of them is rhetorical analysis, one of them is argumentative, and one of them is synthesis, where you have to bring together sources. And so they get 2 hours to do that, and so that whole test is about 3 hours long, and it's very challenging. We have usually a very small percentage of students pass the test, but I don't say that to discourage students. I say that to challenge them. So potential students coming in, it's an absolute challenge to pass the test, but I encourage you to accept that challenge, because if you pass it, you get college credit, and that'll save you some money and time in college. And even if you don't pass, you're gaining really valuable skills that you will use next year in your future English and writing classes and in college. So I'm excited to work with any of you who decide to sign up.